After checking on the town and reporting back to Morlebent with their new lens in hand, the heroes headed to the Otari fishery for a bracer and a bite of food. They found the townsfolk busy in the recovery efforts of the Gauntlet's second firing, but with spirits high and proud in their victory. The markets and fishery were all abuzz with the corpse of a gibbering mouther defeated within the town's borders. And among the locals was a stout dwarf asking to join the heroes at their table. Beryl introduced herself, a once denizen of the nearby dwarven settlement of Galajur, her small familiar companion, an impossibly terrifying and yet adorable combination in the form of a fungal leshy. Expressing great interest in exploring the depths of the Gauntlet and aiding the heroes in their quest, her help was graciously accepted, but not before being given great warning of the dangers that they have and would further face below. The heroes sought to return Lump's body to Vandy for safekeeping, and upon delivering them to her care, the heroes were reminded of those that lay in wait. Little Physic, lost and swaying Krika, and the fearsome Tulak. Harold, in particular, felt the loss of the young fortune teller for the first time, and saw upon his chest the tears of another, who too mourned the loss.
All right, listeners, welcome back. So, we're going through some intro banter topics here. Because you know what? Sometimes that's the hardest shit to figure out. So we're going to the list of questions from the Discord. And this one is from Takale. And the question is, what's the sketchiest thing you've eaten? I mean, I've eaten some sketchy shit. I mean, sketchy is a little tough because I guess what I've eaten and I'm about to say, it wasn't necessarily sketchy as much as it's something that was not, it was foreign to me, I guess you could say. Not something that I was used to growing up on the west coast of Canada. So I was living in Taiwan at the time and I went to this place called Snake Alley in Taipei. And it's where you can go and have snake dishes, like snake soup, which is delicious. It's like chicken with a lot of ribs.
Ooh. Rattlesnake is so good.
So while I was there, they also have a drink, and you get it, and it's 3 shot glasses. And the first one is the biggest, and it's snake's blood mixed with rice wine, and it has a pill floating in it. Then the second one is small, and it's snake's bile mixed with rice wine.
It's probably an anti-venom.
And then the third one is snake's venom mixed with rice wine.
No way.
Oh, God.
That's righteous bile.
And yeah, so you smash those 3 shots in that order. And I think that was the, just the most out there thing.
How did you preface that with, I don't think it's that sketchy? That's super sketchy.
I'm just trying not to be insensitive, if there's a snake blood salesman in here.
What is the culture around that beverage combination, Scott? Is that like here's the white people, we're gonna give them some weird shit, or is that like this is what the hardcore kids do in Taipei? Like, what is the culture around that?
I don't know, but I believe there's some sort of it really sharpens your pencil aphrodisiac
yeah.
kind of vibe to it. If I remember
That's
correctly,
what the pill was.
You know, almost 2 decades
Where someone's
ago.
really laughing about
Just
the
a
white dude that took a bile shot.
That's yeah. It was it was
it was at the Cialis bar.
Oh jeez.
yeah. So that's mine. Cam, yeah, you got something for us?
I got balut from the Philippines.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant the bear from the Jungle Book.
Nope. For those that don't know, it is a fertilized duck egg. So yeah, you can absolutely get feathers stuck in your teeth. You can feel the crunch of bones. Shrimp that's been in my fridge for 3 days. That's kind of sketchy. What else? I'm just all sorts of organ meat. Like I'll eat pretty much anything. Like I don't. The snake venom thing, like as long as it didn't have a cut in my mouth, I'm not as impressed by because the molecules are too big to be absorbed typically. Like it has to get into your bloodstream for it to be bad typically. Because there was like
the pill was probably an anti-venom.
Oh yeah. Just to be careful. But yeah, like in general, like there was a king in, I don't fucking remember, but he used to just drink like a cup of snake venom just to like flex on people because they're like, oh god. But like if you don't have a cut, like it's obviously not advisable. Do not take medical advice from a podcast, but yeah, you can, like, it's not quite as crazy as it sounds, I guess.
You hear that, listeners? Cam says, go out, find a snake, extract the venom on your own, and then drink it straight up. Cam said to do it.
And they
right
still
ahead.
and they
Word for
still
word.
won't be impressed if you do.
Yeah, I won't be impressed. If you're looking for my validation, just be kind to somebody else. That's all you need, really. Snake venom, I don't give a shit.
You can do both.
Yeah, do both. Like, by all means, live life. I'm not your dad. I'm not your mom. I'm not your papa. I'm not your parent.
Yeah.
Unless I am. In which case, don't do those things. Just do kindness.
We don't know where Cam's been.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, for me, sketchy falls between like super weird exotic food or like, 3-day-old shrimp in a fridge. Like,
dangerous to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what is the definition of sketchy? But yeah, those would be my two answers, I guess. Balut is probably like the one that I think would freak out most people. That is like commonly available.
I hard note balut. And no shade on anyone
you
who
drank
enjoys it.
Snake venom. You drank snake venom, but balut is pass.
Yeah. You know what? There was a point in my life that I didn't like eggs that much. And so
that's your problem?
the thought of the half-formed bird inside was just a little too much for me. But shout out to anyone that's fucking gobbling down a balut right now while they're listening to this shit.
What up? Good. It's a hard-boiled egg, basically.
Treat yourself.
Yeah, if you are like right in,
Why
because
are
that
we
would be a hell
shouting
of a
at them?
coincidence.
What is? I don't understand this at all. What is this conversation?
This is called interaction with the listeners, Freeman.
Yeah, I want to. You know what? I'm saving Freeman for last because he always likes to go last, anyways. Dunk, what's the sketchiest thing?
Best for last.
Yeah, I don't really know if I have much because like it's not that I haven't gone like I'll eat whatever whenever I can, anyways. But like some weird organ meats like tripe, but I love the fuck out of tripe. Yeah, I think that's probably like the weirdest I've gone.
Haggis?
But,
you a haggis guy?
Yeah, I've had haggis too, but and a lot of that shit just ends up being like, culturally it's pretty normalized somewhere else and it wasn't where I was, and then you have it and it's like, oh, this is a lot like a dish that we have but a little bit different. Like the tripe thing was the first time I went to a good solid dim sum restaurant and it was absolutely amazing.
Yep.
Haggis, my relatives from Scotland, and had some haggis and it was delicious. Yeah, I guess I eat like shit because I'm a deadbeat, but I don't know if that really counts, like old pizza in the fridge and shit. But yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm immune to old pizza in the fridge. It can't poison me. My tolerance is too high.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I once got hammered, bought a Domino's Brooklyn, threw it in my oven, got hammered like a week later, found it in my oven, and then just finished it.
Yeah, but that's Domino's. The amount of preservatives in that shit,
Yeah,
it'll last forever. It's McDonald's and
the amount of preservatives in me, I wasn't particularly worried. But that's probably the sketchiest thing I've ever eaten. Unless you count the time I tried to can tomatoes myself without realizing how bad that could possibly be.
The botulism.
Yeah.
No.
So I ate those, but that was kind of my job for a while, was just eating shit that we would try fermenting. But I guess cringe warning, or like I don't want to gross anybody out, so maybe just fast forward a couple of seconds if you're easily grossed out. But I really like eating eyes. Like I don't know if you've ever roasted a full animal over a fire, but the eyes are really good. They're like bone marrow flavored warm grapes, like pig. Okay.
I've had fish eyes before. Yeah, fish eyes are delicious.
Great.
I've never had
pig eyes are great. Duck eyes are pretty good. Like if I can, I will. I do quite like offal. I really like kidneys and liver and tongue. I particularly like. Yeah, I don't really like tripe, but that's a texture thing for me. It's the same reason I don't really like nori or fermented mushrooms or that kind of stuff. I see the appeal. The flavor's really good, but honestly, if you put it in front of me and you tell me it's food and I believe you that it's food, I'm going to try it. I've had shark steak. I've had
crocodile.
Some things that I can't talk about on the show.
Kangaroo.
Because they're no longer legal. Yeah, I've had kangaroo.
Long pig.
I've had rattlesnake. I've had wallaby. I've had raccoon. I've had horse. I've had guinea pig. If it's culturally appropriate, I'm gonna try it because there's a reason why those people love it, right? I think probably eyes is the weirdest one, and that Brooklyn pizza was probably a huge mistake, but I'm still here.
You made it.
For the listeners, James is the Corinthian from the Sandman.
Speaking of eating old food, one of my rap names is Young Botch because Gabby always thinks that I'm going to get botulism from some of the food that I eat from our fridge. So.
Worst rap show ever.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. He's pretty sick on the mic.
Hey. I've been shitting on everybody.
Spitting all over the place.
All right. And Fremen, tell us about your iron stomach.
Maybe we don't call him Fremen.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty swell. If we didn't do that on air or ever.
Why? Because of Dune?
No, because of the part of anatomy.
What's that?
Oh, what's that?
A Fremen?
Yeah, how about you guys just turn off the safe search and Google it?
You say that like I've ever put my safe search on. I ate lamb's brain once, and it was really boring.
Try eating an interesting one.
And I remember when I was young eating moose heart, which was also
heart's so good
and dry, and I remember it being awful. And those are the only weird things I've ever eaten. Everything you've all said sounds horrible. I would never even consider it.
You've definitely eaten both liver and tongues before because I know I've fed you them.
I mean, in your terrine, I assume.
Was it his
I
own?
fed you pickled tongue on a crostini. But yeah, there were
Really?
chicken livers in the terrine.
Was it his own liver with a glass of Chianti?
Don't remember the tongue.
Some fava beans.
There was a place outside of Montreal that did like the best terrines. Like there was one I had that was an elk terrine with rabbit mousse, and I probably wouldn't seek that shit out, but it was just goddamn. Sorry, I had to bring that up.
No, that's delicious.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I'm not. I can't say I'm very adventurous on these fronts. I would go nowhere near a glass of blood.
Were you there when I made head cheese?
No, I would not eat head cheese. Just the sight of it alone terrifies me.
Oh no, I'll show you the head cheese I made. It's like a really nice terrine with like a gelatin topper. I'll send you guys pictures.
Yes, I don't like the gelatin topper. It grosses me out right away.
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
Love that shit.
Not for me.
Gimme.
No, sir.
All right. Well, speaking of gelatin toppers, we just said goodbye to Lump, so...
that was a really good segue. Oh, fuck.
Let's head back in.
Oh, that's something we didn't really add to part of Lump's description that I think we missed this whole time was how much gelatin was in their body.
Yeah, they were largely Jello jiggler.
I think Lump could be recycled into glue if we really wanted him to.
They would love that.
lump was like a dish from the 50s.
Pasty?
Jello.
Oh no.
Well, just for that intro, I think we should all be sickened one.
All right, I've added it.
Yep.
Okay,
I was already sickened last episode, I think.
hero point, level up.
Let's play some games. Quick point of order off mic. We discussed a little bit about maybe transferring some runes before heading back down, since you did recover all the gear and Lump's body. So we're going to fast forward the clock a full day from now. So it's going to be the next day around 9 p.m. when you get back down into the gauntlet, just for continuity's sake. And what would it be out of that? A resilient room for Beryl, I think it was.
Yep.
There was definitely some weapon runes that were transferable, I think, if anyone wants a backup weapon of some kind. Don't have to cover it now, but keep that in mind.
Shifting.
Oh yeah, shifting and like +1 striking, I think, too. So
Was Lump's weapon a +2 or just +1?
It was just a +1. They weren't striking people that much, so didn't need to get the +2.
Okay.
We do have enough money in the loot stash that we could send off for you to get one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that would be sick if we're not saving up for anything else.
okay, so you want to send out for a delivery to Absalom?
Yeah, we just need to sell. I'll handle the math and we can just fast forward. But yeah, we have enough money that we can get him the +2.
Give me that.
Okay. Just gonna make a quick note on the calendar. All right, and so you head back into the vaults, and having spent a reasonable amount of time resting and getting yourself set back up to venture down, I assume you have discussed what your next move is going to be. What is said move? You have a few things you could be doing here. You could go back and check in with the Caligny again. You still have the open invitation from the Drow for Ildaris. You could try and go hunt down Kerfell for more revenge. Or you could just continue adventuring through the 9th level of the hunting grounds.
This might be a hot take, but fuck the Caligny. Like, one are a bunch of deserters that are fucking lame, and then the other one are a bunch of douches. So, I say Ildaris.
Ildaris.
Yeah, I'm fine with that, but I don't feel so harshly about the Caligny.
I also don't feel that bad.
Hey, I said it was a hot take.
It is a hot take.
As long as we can
It's actually
make it clear that I am at best neutral about the Caligny.
it's not that hot of a take when you remember that Scott hates all NPCs for no reason at all.
It's been a while since we touched on that, yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Never mind that they were chasing other homes and trying to eke out a dangerous existence and barely surviving and don't trust many people as a result. Never mind all those facts. They're just assholes. Right,
Weak. I'd like James and Cam to chime in on their thoughts on the Caligny, please.
I think they're refugees going through a very hard time, and it's a little harsh to judge them thusly.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know their whole story. I'm not gonna pass judgment on an entire race based on my experience with 4 or 5 of them. That doesn't feel great.
I meant these specific Caligny, not all of the Caligny.
We're just painting you in the most negative light we can, like you did those Caligny.
It's just
Well, maybe they weren't so lame.
Sweeping generalizations.
here's my hot take. I'm a racist.
Oh, jeez. Cut the mic.
There's the episode title.
They're not the greatest, but I also don't fully. James doesn't fully understand their culture, so it may just be a culture of dicks. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Drow, on the other hand, are definitely a culture of dicks.
Yeah, we understand that. Like we know where we stand with them. It's don't fall asleep.
Yeah. If you do, sleep with one eye open.
Yeah,
Gripping
Try
your
not to get
pillow
flesh
tight.
warped.
I kind of agree with Scott that the Caligny are like, they're kind of a handful, which is also, it's part of dealing with people that have been through
They
trauma.
are technically not your problem.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I agree with that at the very least. If you were playing characters that want to be extremely helping hands, they are there to be helped, but you kind of can just leave them to their own devices if you choose. Certainly.
Which is, I think, where we're at.
Yep.
with them because they don't seem to want our help anymore. So we're just gonna leave them in peace with the drow.
Yep.
Go to that trade city.
All right. So you head to the farm level, to this little forward outpost where you met the drow.
And hold on.
And
Barrel is just straight geeking.
Yeah, you're going way over barrel here. Barrel.
No, I'm okay with like fast forwarding it a little bit, but just like, yeah, like just sharing fun facts about mycelium, like the network, how most fungi end up being interconnected. They can share resources with each other. They can actually communicate faster than like anything known on Galarian. Just and they act as like almost a Wi-Fi in terms of like they can tell what's going on with other ones, and just geeking out. Just, oh my god, this one is this, just starts naming off like all these crazy Galarian scientific names, and just having time of her life, but also understands like gotta keep moving. We're here for a job, but makes a note to this is where we're camping. Just finds one particularly nice mushroom's like, I'm coming back for you later.
Just like carve your initials into it.
No, what the fuck? You're trying to make me make an anathema. I won't do it.
Come on. So, just quick note. You have a couple of spells cast on you too, Cam. How long are they meant to last?
I do. The Wand of Tailwind is 8 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And I also have Oaken Resilience that I got from one of my feats that I can just cast it perpetually. So.
Oh, it's innate at will?
It's a 10-minute. Yep, it's an innate at will Oaken Resilience at 4th rank. So I now have resistance 4 to bludgeoning and piercing, and a weakness 6 to fire. But because I'm a forged dwarf, I also have resistance 4 to fire. So,
nice.
I did not realize that stacked in such a way, but I can get rid of the Oaken Resilience as a reaction as well if I take fire damage.
Oh, cool. So you're resistant and weak to it at the same time right now. Okay, that's hilarious. I love it. Okay, yeah. So you get down to the farm level, and Beryl is immediately geeking out as you get near any of the mushrooms, and you make your way to the forward outpost where you met the drow. And sure enough, they are still kind of hanging out and keeping watch. What do y'all do?
Harold, would you please do the introductions?
I will. It's mighty fine to see y'all again. How have you been holding up down here?
It has been rather quiet down here so far. The smaller creatures have slowly resurfaced to the area after our giant fray. But for now, it is all quiet on the Darklands front.
Very nice. Did y'all manage to get your respect for killing that spider creature?
Oh yes, we sent word, and we have in shifts headed back to Ildaris and received no small amount of praise. Thank you for that.
Well,
I'll give you your due, of course, if you still want to come meet our leader.
We do indeed, and you may notice that we've lost our companion, Lump. But we do have a new one, and this is Beryl here, with her little familiar, Inoki.
Hello, Beryl. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Do you know anything about Medusas?
Is that society?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. No, I am unfamiliar with their. I know of them, but do not know anything of them other than lots of snakes.
And then she just kind of looks at the rest of you and says, "Then I guess our prisoner will remain safe for now." And kind of like is really cavalier about Lump being gone and makes this like offhanded remark. since Lump did talk to the drow about it, but then later told you all, but the drow doesn't know. They think they're being cheeky. And so, what brings you to us?
We're here to take you up on your offer. Head down to Ildaris.
And you remember the requirement, yes?
No weapons.
It is non-negotiable. I hope you understand.
Well, down here, you don't live without alliances and folks to watch your back. So we had to put down our blades for a moment just to settle on some sort of truce. Some sort of parlay. I'm sure we'll be okay with that. And he turns to his companions, looking for agreement.
Barrel nods.
Nick nods. Now, Freeman, if I were to want to keister a dancing spear,
Right in the old prison pocket, eh?
almost got a spec take on that one.
Yeah, almost got me. Nick the Impaler.
Some Harvey Danger shit.
Given that he's 3 feet tall and so is the spear, probably not doable.
Oh, God. This is our kobold scarecrow.
He's just walking like bolt upright. His tail's straight down.
Oh, my cloaca. Oh, oh shit.
Only kobolds.
So the drow nods their head and says, I know we'd have a certain reputation, so I've heard, amongst some of the surface people. Perhaps it spreads to some of the Darklands as well. But I can reassure you that we are not the type to just bring random strangers in only to trap them. Whatever resources you have, we have no need of them. You are not our enemy. You may not be our ally yet, but we have no reason to harm you unless you give us one. That is not a threat.
Well, we'll do our best to be on our good behavior.
As will we all. And the drow will lead you south a bit into what looks like they're going to go into the actual Fort Outpost here, but stops in this little like nook and walks over to a boulder, and basically there's like elven carvings all along the boulder, and then the elf just like, or the drow just starts like tracing certain ones with their hand, and then the boulder just like swings open into the side and like partially into the wall, revealing a secret entrance. And they waltz in through with you following, and immediately there are 4 drow who stand to attention. Some sitting, some just like leaning, and they have bows in hands. Hands go up to arrows and quivers, and they see the drow who waves a hand. You know, it's all good, and they all kind of relax. But they are ready enough to, once they see that a group of strangers, very strange-looking creatures to them, have wandered in, and the drow walks up and says something to them in Elven. Basically, you know, they've agreed to meet with our leader and stuff, and I'm escorting them, so they let you pass. And the drow takes you down a tunnel into where Ildaris resides.
Ooh.
So did we give up our weapons before we entered this door?
Nope.
Okay.
Not yet. So you come down the alleyway here, the tunnel, and it kind of spirals down and down and down into getting to the level of the floor below. And as you keep following it, you round another corner, and there is another drow guard just kind of sitting on a stool, like whittling some like fungal wood, who just like sees something coming around the corner, stands up, hand on a blade, and then sees the drow coming around, and it sees you and is told to stand down. And as you travel by, you basically hit a fork in the tunnel here, and you can hear and see a little bit, perhaps around the corner. There's the sounds of like there's drow voices to the east, and like the sound of like moving like crates and like maybe like wheels of a cart, and you can hear like some weird snarlings of a beast of some kind. But instead of heading east, you are taken west on the route through the tunnel. So as you follow that tunnel to the west, it rounds down to the south, and eventually comes to a door, like a metal door built into the stone. You can see some like worked stone at its edges, like for its frame. And the tunnel does go farther to the south, but it seems to be blocked off from like a collapse of some kind.
Freeman, real quick, could I roll a mining lore to see how these tunnels were made? Like, was it a purple worm? Was it dwarves? Was it, these drow? Like, I'm just trying to get an idea.
Sure, yeah.
27.
Yeah, this one actually, this particular tunnel, at some point it seemed to start like it was a natural cavern of sorts, but this one seems to have been dug out purposely, but not like turned into any work stone. It's meant to look a little bit. Yeah, it's meant to look like it's kind of a little more natural to kind of hide the fact that anything might be down here. But then, yeah, but to your eyes, it's quite obvious that it's not as natural. We come to the door, and the drow turns back to you and says, "This is your final chance to turn around if you have any reservations."
Ruff looks over his shoulder and starts using the detect magic exploration activity.
Okay.
Beryl is just grinning, super happy to see what is down here.
And the drow kind of smiles as you cast a spell. Yeah, okay.
Harold wants to sense motive one last time.
Sure.
25.
Yeah, seems to be on the up and up.
All right, better than down and down.
Mm-hmm.
We are ready to go forward.
The drow turns the door and does like a pattern of knocks on it.
I memorize it.
And then this slot just slides open to view who's on the other side, and they see the other drow. And they slide shut again. And the door unopens. Opens.
Uncloses, I think is what you meant.
Uncloses. Yeah. The door uncloses. And there is a guard on the other side holding a crossbow and a sword. And the drow steps in and says words to this.
Seems like overkill.
Yeah. It's just like, starts talking, and it's just like, this is Taklatur. He is a faithful guard of Yodaris among the many. He will guard our flank. And this drow continues forward to another door and cracks it open, steps through, and as you continue to follow, you are now very much in a worked stone fortress of some kind with like metal tiled floors and whatnot, and you step into a room that is like filled with chairs and tables and drow of all kinds. There's the walls that feature like words that are carved in like a flowing script that are underscored with hash marks. There are 4 doors, 2 to the east, double doors to the east, 1 to the north, 1 to the south. And anyone who speaks Elven in the old group here? Anyone?
Anybody?
I don't think anybody anymore. Like Lump was the only one.
So you can't tell what the words on the walls say, but they're like they're just placed all over the place. Like they're just like there's different kind of sections like grouped together of like here's a set of words, here's a set of words. They're almost like imagine like posters in a way, but just carved into the walls. Stuff to be constantly reminded of. I'll give you a behind the scenes because it's just a little fun fact. It's basically like aphorisms.
Eat, drink wine.
That are like kind of militant. So it's like stay alert, protect one's home.
Live,
like
laugh,
kind
love.
of like propaganda-esque. Yeah, live, laugh, love. Exactly. Hang in there.
Nobody likes Mondays.
And who's got like a warfare lore or something similar?
The closest I have is
like that?
society.
Long.
Yeah, you killed the character that would know these things.
Yeah, you can roll society maybe if someone wants to try that.
30.
You would guess that it's possible that Beryl recognizes like a bit of a similarity to these hash marks. Like they mark a counting of the number of times of some sort of achievement. So maybe you had something like that.
Number of times they hanged in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Number of Mondays they've defeated.
Yeah.
Reminds you of number of days with no accidents in the workplace, like back in Galazur. Yeah.
Except there's this guy with the eye patch, so they probably had to reset
Yeah.
the counter a few days ago.
Well, it's funny you say that because the guy with the eye patch like perks up there. There's a group of drow gambling at a table here, and they're all well armed. But the guy with the eye patch perks up and stands up and goes, "Oh, surface dwellers. Oh, interesting." And steps away from the table, and the other drow are like, "Hey, hold on, it's your turn." But he's in Elvish, but he just comes over and he's like, "Oh, what the Iribo? Who are these people? I haven't seen a surface dweller for some time now." And Iribo, the drow that's been escorting you, says, "Well, these are... sorry, friends, I forget your names. Introduce yourself. This is Falshi or Shandiel."
My name is Beryl, and she'll do a small curt nod.
My name is Harold.
Pleasure to meet you. Harold, very nice, very nice.
If there's like a handshake, she'll shake hands. But
Sure, yeah.
Shake hands by the hand or grabbing forearm.
Gives you a real bro-y one when you grab the forearm.
whatever seems culturally appropriate. She is very low charisma with a -1, but is trying to not be rude.
Ooh, dubstat.
Dwarfs.
I'm Nirkaj, a hero of Otari. Pleased to meet you.
Oh, a hero. Oh, very nice, very nice. I once met a group of your kind from the surface. You all look so strange, such variety. They saved me, a couple of floors above. That's how I lost this. I was quite beat up. And he points at the eye patch.
We're a pretty magnificent people, and you were quite lucky to have us.
About how long ago was this encounter with the other surface dwellers?
Oh, within the last month or so, I would say. Time was a little bit lost on me at the time when they saved me. I'd been tied up for some time and left to, thirst and starve, but they saved my life.
Now, what did they look like?
Interesting.
You wouldn't happen to know any of them, would you? And he's like, there was this half-elf, loved to throw around purple magic, and there was this strong orc man. Haven't seen one of their kind in a very long time. And there was this very strong woman with a shield and armor.
Now, we know these people.
You do?
They came from the same town as us.
Oh, wonderful. How do they fare? I would love to give them my thanks. They are welcome here anytime.
Unfortunately, brother, you fared better than them all in the end.
No, they are too strong. They could not have all been lost.
That's part of being a hero of Otari. Many of us have fallen.
Well, that is quite a brutal vocation you take upon yourselves.
Yeah, like them, we ain't here to dilly-dally around. We're here to rid this place of evil. To save those surface dwellers, whom we know as the town of Otari and the rest of the Isle of Kortos.
Well, your need to protect your home is not lost on me or my kind friends. I am sad to hear that you have lost those dear to you, but we are familiar with such a thing as well. Let us be comrades in arms on these sad things in common.
Indeed.
I am
And
sorry.
then-
What was your name?
I'm Falshi or Shandiel, distant cousin of our fair leader, Cora. She will welcome you most heartily, I believe. And he turns and says, Irorix! And one of the drow, gets up from the table. And he just, commands something in Elvish. And then Irorix walks over to the door, knocks on it. The door opens. And then another drow comes out. So this is Tanieth. He is our quartermaster. He will take your weapons for now. But rest assured they will be kept safe here.
Beryl will hand over the Staff of Healing. It's the closest thing she has to a weapon.
And Nick will eye up that spear, like maybe it could fit, but no. And hands it over.
Ruff will hand over his crossbow, the necrotic bomb, and then kind of look to everybody. And then the sword just appears in his hands out of his sleeve, and he offers it up to Fauci. He wasn't going to, but hearing that he knew of, Tulok and Gilda, and Krugga being a friend of his, and Tulok being a friend of his as well, makes that decision to trust this man. He was not about to.
Okay.
It was way back in episode 74 that we saved them from the bar.
Yeah.
Harold takes just a sack out of his bag and drops in the necrotic bomb, hand crossbow, the light hammer, hands that over, and then the cleaver in its sheath, and says, "Just be careful, this one. It's thirsty for blood."
Aren't we all?
I like that.
And I don't mean to offend Beryl, but your clan dagger too.
And she just pulls it out from her waist and hands it forward, hilt first.
And the look on her face is
definitely upset, concerned. Actually, shoot, we'll make a request. Is it possible to perhaps peace binding or some other means instead?
What's peace binding?
Peace binding is basically, it adds several steps to being able to pull your dagger, so I couldn't just quickly draw it to defend myself. It would take
You tie it in so many beautiful knots that it takes, I think, a full minute to undo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He sort of considers it for a sec, and he says, "I'm afraid I don't have the authority to make exceptions. However, I know of your clan dagger because I know of your kind. Again, I do not mean to offend. I respect the importance that it holds for you. It is a similar importance to something we hold dear. Perhaps you've heard of the drow lethargy poisons we are well known for. How about I give you my personal stock to hang on to, and I will personally hold your dagger as well. A trade of valuables. I know it's not exactly of equal value, but it is a gesture. It's the best gesture I can offer you."
Beryl will consider for a moment and then just nod. Yeah. Thank you for being understanding. And she looks really embarrassed at the whole thing too. Just all the happiness and cheerfulness is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, and he hands you a couple vials of famed, or infamous, I guess, drow lethargy poison. And the Tanieth takes your gear and strides back into the northern room, shuts the door, and Falshi or Shandiel goes back to the table and says, "All right, I think we are satisfied. Iribo, continue. I'm sure Kura would love to hear from these folks from the surface. Good luck, friends." And Iribo steps forward to the double doors, cracks them open, and Falshi goes back to gambling.
It's good to meet you, Falshi.
Send Quora my favor for these folks. Yes, of course, of course. And stepping in to a long 10-foot wide hallway, a rarity in these vaults. You see a door to the south, a door to the north, a couple double doors to the east, and the hallway loops around to a nice 20-foot wide hallway heading south, and another couple double doors heading around down that hallway. Iribo cracks those double doors to open to a great chamber, a very large chamber with high vaulted ceilings. You can see a small forge and anvil in the center of the room with a work table and various tools. There's benches that line the walls all along this room. It is otherwise mostly empty. There's a door to in this room, a door to the northeast and south, another one to the southeast, one to the southwest, and double doors straight to the south. As Iribo walks you in, they direct to the benches. Say, "This is where you will wait. Quora will join you shortly for an audience. Make yourselves at home as best you can in these stark quarters, I suppose."
Thank you, Haribo.
It is my duty.
All your flavors are delicious.
It's not Haribo, no. But I like it. I like the
He
reference.
drinks some gummy berry juice and just bounces away.
And then Iribo heads to the southeastern door and opens it up and steps in, closing it. And you are left alone for a moment. See, the double doors behind you were closed when you came in as well. And what do you do?
They're stealing shit.
Saul seems above board.
He made reference to Tulak and Kraga, friends of ours. I trust this Falshi.
And Beryl, I happened to notice the look on your face when you had to hand over your clan dagger. I understand the importance of them to your people. I didn't take you one for upholding those traditions.
Well, this is the one thing that I have that is from my home. It was the thing that still tied me to my people. I am not like them in many ways, but they are still my family, and they are still my community.
Do they still... How do I say this without sounding cold? What's their feeling towards you for leaving the family forge behind?
This is a complicated topic, and I would rather not cry before we meet a foreign dignitary.
I'm sorry for asking. I guess I just trying to learn a bit about you before it's too late. Time down here can be short.
We give you our word that you will be reunited with your clan dagger before we leave here.
And she just lets out a small sigh and just, thank you.
And then he turns to Nick and he's like, "So I see you decide not to hoop that spear."
Oh, yes, no, I forgot my soap.
I have a flask of oil, if that would have helped.
Well,
I have a scroll of grease.
honestly, it probably just would have made an absolute casserole of the place. So.
Oh, jeez.
And they share a very rare laugh in the Abomination Vaults.
Yeah.
Didn't hoop the spear.
In a short while later, the southeastern door opens, and in steps a tall, confident drow woman with long, platinum white hair, wearing mostly leather garb and a sturdy-looking hand crossbow on her waist, bandolier covered with crossbow bolts. She strides into the room and catches just a little bit of your laughter, and she approaches you with a small smile on her face. And as before she gets to speak, though, just shortly before, or just shortly after she's entered the room, in steps a rather stern-looking drow, again with long white hair, who has a large sword at their waist, and is well armored. And this other drow steps in quietly with a very stern look on their face. And the first drow steps up, and with a small smile turning into a beaming smile. "Ah, surface dwellers, welcome. I heard your kind saved my cousin Fershi not long ago. Do any among you are any among you able to claim such a feat, such a generous returning of my kin?"
We can't. We know those who did. They were on the same quest as us. They were friends we knew from town. And they ain't with us no more.
Harold, not to intrude, but did you not help the drow at the outpost against... And Beryl just shuts up, realizing she might not have been supposed to say that part.
I mean, we done worked with your people before, but we just can't claim to be a part of the party that saved your cousin.
Oh, yes, Eribo did tell me that you were a great help in their slaying of the Goliath spider of the caverns.
Oh, that puny thing?
You have our gratitude.
Iribo and Nizoras did most of the work, we assure you.
They were very furious in battle. It was a spectacle to be seen.
Yes, and we lost some good wardens to that fight. It is a shame.
It is a shame.
It is the life that we lead down here. And you surface dwellers have come to our territory, not knowing it. It is quite brave of you. I have not met your kind before. I'm surprised at how different you all look. Of course, we have lots of strange beings down here as well, but I'm glad to say that despite the fact that I have seen some of our people's artwork of your kind, you're not nearly as ugly as that art has made you out to be.
Thank you.
That is literally in the book. That was funny. But I forget myself. I am Cora Orshandiel, leader of this outpost. Now you've come to us for a reason. Perhaps it is something about helping each other. Would you like to tell me why you're here? And as she says that, the door to the southwest opens, and out steps two drow in robes holding staves. And they look nearly identical at a distance. And they just step out of the door and stand side by side, close the door behind them, and just linger. And she doesn't bat an eye.
Zaymont and Tomax.
Yeah.
It's a funny joke for those who get it.
No doubt.
Yeah, perhaps you have somewhere where we could talk in private.
Oh, I assure you, we are very much in private here. Only the most trusted ears are in this room. This is Salesa Malthulas. She is the captain of the wardens here at Ildaris. And without turning to them, it says, and those are Bazrad and Clathor. They have unique perspectives, but they will they can be trusted with any information you have. Someone roll me a society.
They look super friendly.
Basil and Coriander, is that what you called them?
Yeah.
Bazrad and Clathor.
That's a 16.
Coriander.
Rad and Clathor.
I'd like to roll esoteric lore with the -2 on that.
Okay, because you can do that on humanoids, or is that right? Or is it?
Well,
is
it
there a
depends
list?
it depends why you're looking for society here.
It's a cultural thing.
Well, yeah, if it's
Yeah, so that would be -2.
a
Okay.
creature, then it would still be 36.
Okay,
If it's about their culture, I would say it's 34.
sure. That's plenty. You've heard of stories that twins are revered in a different way in the Drow culture because they are said to receive like enigmatic divinations by communing with the stone of the Darklands. So they are said to be born with like special powers, twins in the Drow community. So they are like sort of the local mystics in some way.
Okay.
Cora politely waits for you to spill your beans.
Why are we here?
We're down here specifically in Eldaris looking for allies and friends. Just because as we're moving down these abomination vaults from the surface to lower down, we find it's to our benefit to have allies around here. And just so you know, we are on a mission, if you will, to save our town and the city of Absalom from an evil necromancer named Belcora Haruvex, who used to reside here in her mortal form and now is but a spirit. She's been harrying our people, and we've been fighting back against her and her kin, heading down. We're almost there, and we've seen mighty a loss, as we said. But, still, we go on.
We have also made contact with some desperate locals, Caligni, who are in need of a sanctuary.
Yes, the forward wardens did mention something about refugees. That is not within our purview to help them at the moment. However, I would like to hear more about your quest here. What you have experienced so far, what you know about this Belcora.
Sense motive.
Would you regale me more of your story?
Sense
Sure,
motive.
sense motive, yeah. She...
That's a natural one for a 15. Best
I wanted to get
friends.
in on that, and I rolled a natty 19. Wait, that's not even close to true. Oh, yeah, I did. Natty 19 for a 35.
We're going to be best friends regardless of what you find out.
Yeah. It's very obvious she's fishing for more information from you without revealing anything herself, but you've piqued her interest certainly on the topic of Belcora. You get the vibe that she knows something about Belcora. She's kind of feigning ignorance at the moment, but 35 is a really good roll, so you think that maybe she's still trying to figure out if she trusts you or not. And that's why she's feigning ignorance, to like try and keep the upper hand and learn more. And she's basically asking you to regale her with more details of like what you've been through, how you got here, what about these other people that saved Falshi that you know about, where are they, what happened to them, what did they go through. She really wants like a pretty good scope of the story, and it's up to you how much you want to reveal. I'm not going to make you just sit here and recap the whole story here, but like you could give me an idea of what you want to give away. Or if you have any reasons to not give it away. It's just the story of your journey, basically.
Can we just like give her Ogriel's business card?
Ruff is decidedly not telling her about being captured by Belcora and the war chief and tortured.
Okay, sure.
But
fine.
that's the only thing he wants to hold back. He doesn't really want to talk about that with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Nick would talk up the fight with the spider a bit, but beyond that, that's kind of his shining moment of the whole thing.
And I think that Harold will kind of preface the fact that he's newer to the group And a lot of the knowledge that he has is now secondhand, third-hand knowledge.
Well, Harold could act as a character witness for Tulok and Krugga.
Yep. So I think that he's pretty open with what he shares.
Okay.
So as he's kind of completing and rounding out the story, and that's about all I can think of now. And as I said, I wasn't there for a lot of it. And as I said, we've lost many people, and you know how word of mouth is sometimes. It's hard to keep track of all the facts, but that's as best as I can tell it. But
Indeed, I understand. I know how tongues like to wag, amongst my own men, in fact.
now, I don't
And, like,
mean
just
to-
for the record, like, as you told this story, like, she sympathized with the hard parts. She laughed when you mentioned something funny, that might have happened. She like is very invested in the story. Seems very genuine and like nodding thoughtfully throughout.
Now, I don't want to be so bold, but I know that your people aren't surviving down here being ignorant to what's going on. It's not possible. I spent time underground before, and word travels fast, and people see things. I'm trying to put too fine a point on it, but I know you know some things. I've been pretty open with you as far as our experience is concerned, and if you have any information that could help us on our way, I think it would only be fair that you tell us your story too, and what you know about the sorceress Belcora.
And she smirks a bit, appreciating your perceptiveness, as it were. And you hear like a like from Salesa in the back, and Cora turns and like raises a hand to be like, "It's okay, I got it," and turns back to you and says, "I believe you have been truthful to me, so I am going to be truthful with you. Ildaris only exists at Belcora's pleasure. It was, in fact, here when she first created her vast dungeons, and at the time my grandfather was our leader at this outpost. Belcora made allies with several groups down here, including Astrau, Urdafans, and I even heard of some deep gnomes above. Heard that they even embraced the hideous undeath. To each of these groups, she gave, here again, and like she raises a hand that's a little more stern this time, or like a fist maybe, to shut up Salesa. To each of these groups, they were gifted a magical lens with strange powers. For safekeeping, I believe. And ours was the color of ochre. And it is said it could manipulate emotions. But there was more to these lenses. And my grandfather had told my father, Larathals, who became Ildaris' leader after him. But my father never told me. In fact, I was never meant to lead. My older sister was to succeed my father. But they both embarked on a secret expedition just a few years ago. And on an island in the Great Lake of these hunting grounds, the Urdafon warlord Kurfel caught and killed them. And their expedition, I believe, had something to do with this lens. Something about its secret that I was never told. And I suspect my father had the lens with him because he is not in my position. Perhaps he hid it someplace. Perhaps Kurfel took it. I don't know. And now, I must admit that the Belcora came to me a short time afterward, in the ghostly form you have described to me. She insisted that I swear Ildaris' support in aid of a surface invasion, much like my grandfather had before me. She is driven to see this invasion even in her death. I believe it is what holds her here, for she spoke at great length, almost to herself, before insisting, I swear again. And for the good of Eldaris, I did renew the vows my grandfather made. But I've never felt bound by mere words. I won't help her. I believe my father and my sister wanted a way out of said vows. And I would seek something similar. I do not know how I can exactly, but I would help you. You are welcome in Eldaris as long as you like. Perhaps we can find a way forward together in some capacity.
I guess she was talking and starts to talk about the alliance with Belcora. Harold's hand kind of drifted down to his hip, where the handle of his cleaver should have been. Searches around for just a moment before he catches himself, and then just kind of runs his fingers through his beard, trying not to eye around nervously. But as the story rounds about and she starts to talk about defying Belcora, he becomes only slightly less nervous. We'll take any help you can give us, and we truly don't know how you can help us neither. But we appreciate allies in this place.
You could help us maybe find this lake, or point us in the direction. As I'm sure you gathered, it is our intention to collect these lenses and use them against her.
For the record, you've already seen the lake. You were right next to it when you came down the ladder. Yeah. Or at least she will describe said lake, and like you realize, oh, that's the one we've seen. It's not some other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would give us use of the lens to our end, we would return it, I suppose, if it is an important cultural artifact when we are finished. But we believe this to be central to our mission.
No, do not mistake me. That lens is no cultural artifact of ours. It started with my grandfather, and I would hope that it stops with the death of my own father and sister. I do not wish to see it again. It is what ties me to this ghostly sorceress, I believe. I know not accepting it is not the only way to be rid of her, but I would not see myself tied to her any more than I have to be.
Ruff nods solemnly, like he's just been sitting on the bench the whole time, just kind of hunched over. As soon as those doors closed, he was like, I don't know if we're all making it out of here. I think he's become very pessimistic in his most recent glimpse of his own personal death.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, third or fourth death will do that for you.
Hot damn. Does Nick or Beryl have anything to add to this? Or any questions? Anyone have any questions for Cora?
This might be the first time Beryl's heard the whole story, too.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was gotten into, but Beryl is definitely likes her a lot, likes her attitude, the beaming smile and everything, is definitely vibing with that really hard, but has a slight hang up just from the years of indoctrination as a dwarf. Breaking oaths is a very, very taboo thing. And so her making an oath to Belcor and then so flippantly being we won't do that is giving her just a little bit of a head cocked to the side. Okay, then why should we trust you? I guess, you know, you've confessed to us. So maybe that's but it feels, just
Why
weird.
don't you roll me a sense motive real quick?
Okie doke. It's a 27.
It does seem strange to you because she is the leader of a military outpost. Surely she's sworn oaths to her own kind, the city she comes from, so why say something like, I've never felt bound by mere words? Is there more to their military oaths that's magical, you don't know. But it seems, you're right, it seems quite oddly flippant. But you not sure what to make of it, but you line that up with her admitting that she was never supposed to be the leader.
Yeah.
You get the vibe that she's not real crazy about having to be the leader. Not that she shirks her duty, she certainly does not. But not her favorite way to have had her life turn out.
For sure. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much where Barrel's head's at.
And Nick's pretty on board. I mean, he's pretty quick to trust on this shit and sees the dots connecting of a lens. Maybe we should befriend these people so we can have free use of our weapons around them. But he also knows that he's been on the side of rushing into things and doesn't want to get overly enthusiastic. So I think he's just kind of watching it unfold a little. But he internally is pretty on board with these drow. They seem to be aligned. Mm-hmm.
And like there are things that you're right. The dots connecting are interesting because she mentions the Erdafon. She mentions the deep gnomes that embrace undeath. You found the Crimson Lens not in their possession, but in the possession of a creature not far away from them who is definitely more powerful than them. You know, so it's easy for that to have changed hands. You found one from Kerfell himself, so there definitely was one with the Erdafon. Like, you know, she's speaking. Just telling you the story, and you know that like there must be some truth. It's very likely there's some truth to it. It would be very odd for her to know these things or have this story without them being somewhat true. It'd be very coincidental, unless you get real suspicious and you feel like she's been fed the information from Belcour herself. But it doesn't seem like anyone is going down that road.
I didn't think that until now.
Yeah, just want to throw it the possibilities. But as the conversation kind of winds down a little bit and you ask a few questions or, you know, express how you're feeling, suddenly from the back of the room, one of the twins speaks up. And if your eyes turn that way, you see that they've actually like stepped up a little bit to face the room a bit more, and they're side by side, but both their mouths start to move in unison. But only one voice seems to speak at a time, despite both of their mouths moving. And you hear, "There is more you should know." And Cora just turns, like, eyebrows kind of raise up and be like, "Oh, what? What's this?" And she motions towards them to continue on. And they say, "The Ochre Lens lies in a dark and wet place. Kerfell didn't claim it. Larathal's dropped it in the water to deny it to his enemy. He died attempting to learn more of its purpose, more than the partial truth we know. We have seen in a vision that the stones both empower the Ghost Queen and hold the key to her demise. Within there are slivers of something ancient, alien, evil, and hungry. We saw eyes of empty death. She separated the lenses because, together, they draw the baleful attention of the empty death. Even the Ghost Queen cannot withstand the empty death. When their powers are joined within her, the secrets to the lenses are in the old treasure vault, which overlooks the lake. Find the lenses. Find the answers Larathal sought. We have seen it. And they fall silent. And Cora turns back to you and says, "I would say you get used to Basrad and Clathor, but one never does."
Well, it's all right. It kind of reminds me of our old friend Lump. They had two mouths and moved at the same time, too.
That's it. Go all the way back to all the episodes and double up the voices. No.
No, please.
It would solve a volume problem.
She says, let me assure you that when they do speak, it is important. They have never said words that did not benefit Eldaris. And I can assure you what they have just said is news to me. They usually speak at odd but opportune times. If it benefits Eldaris, I suspect it might benefit you as well, seeing as how we are allies now.
We are, and we appreciate the information.
And the hospitality.
Yes. We have some overflowed lodging here. You're welcome to stay, if it please you. And make use of our facilities. The forge is for yours to use. We don't have any exquisite fare to dine on, but we will happily feed you some military rations as well.
You got any other amenities around here? Good people to trade with, or gear we could buy? Anything?
Maybe a masseuse.
I'm afraid we only keep what we need for the most part. We are not... whatever treasure we do find within the Darklands frontier is usually sent back to our main settlement. Though there are some target practice rooms if you wish to join some of the training of the drow of our people. But beyond that, this is a stark abode, not one for amenities.
Being allies now, is there perchance we can retrieve our weapons?
I'm afraid that is something I still cannot allow. It is a very strict protocol. You might be allies, but you are not our people.
We do not have to stay here, Beryl. We can stay at the forward end of the outpost. Besides, we should make for that lake soon, I think.
And Beryl just nod.
And did you told her about going up against the Erdophon?
No. Maybe. We didn't say it out loud, but James did say that he would mention most of it, that besides his death and stuff. So
besides
probably.
the torture, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That
Okay, so yeah. So before you if you decide to depart, just say one more thing. Your story of taking on the Erdophon to the west. It is pardon my rudeness. That is unbelievable in some ways. But by the sounds of your retelling, you've thinned that herd quite severely. Would you seek the death of the war chieftain?
Ruff's eyes just blaze fire.
I would very much see that creature felled for what it has done to my family and my people.
Well, perhaps this is a way that we could solidify this truce, spill some blood together. We definitely would like to go up against them again. We might have bitten off a little more than we could chew, but for a while we were holding our own. We didn't realize quite how many of them there were. The further down we go here, the more expansive it is. We were fighting smaller groups before, and things seem to have changed down here. More locals, I guess you could say.
And he has been weakened quite severely.
It is not amongst our protocol to take on some sort of revenge mission, but the Erdophon have indeed harried us off and on for a great many years. I would send word to my superiors, asking permission to venture out. Should I receive it, you would be a welcome asset to said mission. if you would like to join.
How long does it take to get word to and from?
Caravans go from Ildaris to Lazardin, which is the main settlement. Lazardin? Lozardyn. But it is a sort of meandering, erratic schedule of the caravans. Passage leads. We'll say it's like a couple days travel each way. So we'll make it similar to like the Absalom.
About a week.
Absalom route. Yeah. So like send a message, receive a message. We'll call it 4 or 5 days ish.
Send word. I can say that we're probably all interested in this. And let me ask you. Down here, where we are now in Ildaris, does it connect somehow to the level with the lake?
Yes. This is very observant of you. You have a great sense of direction, being underground surface dweller.
I spent a lot of time down under the ground. Maybe not much to you, being human and all, but I spent a lot of time in the dark.
All right, and she says, I will have Iribo show you the way.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to have this parlay.
Indeed it has. Again, you are welcome to venture around our settlement. Stay if you like. We are here if you need an ear to bend. And she kind of gives you like a clicking of her boots, kind of like a little salute, and wanders off to Salesa to like exchange some words in Elven, and the twins go back through the door that they came without another word, and eventually they exit the room, the other two exit the room, and Aribo comes back in and says, all right, I'm told I have to show you back to the wilds of these hunting grounds.
And show us where them beds are just real quick if we come back.
Sure. And so it leading through the double doors to the north you came through, the double doors to the east from this hallway lead to another hallway that turns a corner to the south, and there are several doors all along here, a couple of which are overflow lodging. So this one and this one will open the doors, and the rest are occupied though. So there's should be 2 beds in each one.
That's 1 bed for each PC.
Son of a bitch.
Holy crap. Good thing we're not a 5 PC party. Someone would be sleeping on the floor. Can we get an extra cot in this room?
Where's Inoki gonna sleep?
In the kitchen.
I don't think any of us are going to be sleeping in here for a while.
And as you just for a little fun behind the scenes as well, if you were interested, but I don't think it's ever going to happen, but you could train here with the Drow Shootists, and you gain access to the Drow Shootist archetype.
Ooh.
Wait, shootist?
A Shootist, yeah.
Like the shoot thing?
Which actually is a really cool combo if you did like a hand crossbow gunslinger with the Drow Shootist archetype. It's really neat. Or even, I guess, even a ranger could probably take advantage of that pretty well.
Yeah, ranger's what I was thinking.
Wrong party makeup.
Back character.
Yeah. Come on, someone play a hand crossbow gunslinger. It's so cool. But you're led back out. Your gear is returned to you, and Iribo guides you to the tunnel again. Gives you a unique knock for just your party to knock on this door, so that Taklatur can open it for you. Assures you that if a familiar face is not on the other side of the slot that opens up, look out, basically. And it takes you south to that passage that was collapsed that I mentioned earlier. Down in here, there is a hidden magical rune on the wall, and it reminds you of the one that got you down here, but it's definitely a little bit different. And this magical panel, when you touch it, and Iribo speaks some words in Elven, teaches you these Elven words, and the rubble, just like as if it's like one piece, even though it looks like a bunch of different rocks piled on top of each other, just like swings open in this weird way halfway to the wall, and it leads into this cavern. Eribo steps out and waits for you to join them. And pointing to the south, she says, they say, down here we give a little free time to our riding lizards. Do not mind them, they're quite tame, but keep your distance as best you can. They can be easily startled at times. To the west here, head to the north, and you will find yourselves into the greater cavern. I would strictly say avoid the southern side. There is a fog you do not want to enter.
You want to tell us more about that fog real quick?
I wish that I could, but I do not know much about it other than that anyone of our kind who has ventured within it has not returned.
Can I do a knowledge check on that?
Yeah, if you want to head that way and take a look at it, you're welcome to, for sure.
Just on the information.
Yeah, sure. Roll me, we'll go, I guess Arcana, any of the recall knowledge ones will, Arcana, religion, occult, and any of those ones, not society, but the other ones, you can roll any of those and see if something comes up.
Nature?
Nature, yeah.
It's a 38 Arcana.
That's a 24.
A dangerous fog certainly seems like it would be magical in nature in some way, but to enter it and not return doesn't really sound like a mist spell. It sounds like something beyond that. There's nothing, even with that 38, there's nothing that comes to mind for arcane studies that you can think of that this would be. Beryl, nature, more or less the same. You think you've heard of poisonous, choking clouds, smoke, or flammable stuff, but like nothing quite what this drow describes. Anyone else?
Is this it on the map here?
25 on diverse lore, esoteric lore. Or 23. Sorry,
25.
23.
23. All I can really give you is that you would guess. It's not very helpful. You would guess, even without the process of elimination from the other characters, that surely it's possibly occultish in nature. It's something kind of otherworldly as opposed to natural or arcane. So that could more likely be occult or something from a different plane, which could involve religion.
Thank you, Rebo. We'll avoid it best we can.
And Rebo winters back through, and the door closes behind. You want to go hang out with the lizards, or are you going to the? You going with the?
Nick looking at those lizards feels a little bit like a goofy Pluto situation, so he's not comfortable with that. He's just gonna walk away.
Beryl, why don't you roll me a perception check, since you have greater dark vision? You can see nice and far.
A perception, you say?
Yeah, what's going on there?
That's a 24.
Okay. And who else has dark vision?
Nick.
Nick, want to roll me a perception as well?
26.
Yeah, no, you didn't notice anything. You see the lizards like gallivanting in the amongst the mushrooms in this little cave, but they
imagine if I just got naked and was free like that.
Yeah. They seem to know to avoid going to the west. And as you head to the west yourself, you see that fog to the south that seems to block the view into the caves. It's like really, really thick and dense. But if you head to the north, it's becomes a little more familiar terrain. This natural cavernous terrain that leads to mushroom patches and the lodge to the north. That you found the Caligny.
Barrel's just gonna barrel on through to the mushrooms.
Barrels through to the mushrooms, and you enter the big cavernous cave, and you feel like this hollowness. There's this silence again, similar to when you fought the Goliath spider after like the big battle you had. You remember the Erdefon, some of the running away, barreling over that Susto Daemon as you ran, and the Erdefon chased you down past that wall of flesh. It's maybe seems so long ago, but it really, really was not. This crazy, crazy experience. And as you enter the cave, you just hear just this emptiness, this hollowness. The glow of some of these mushrooms illuminates your way, and you can hear your footsteps. They're like a little bit louder now that everything is so quiet. And there's just the gentlest lapping of water along the lake shore ahead of you. Somewhere amongst this lake is the lens that you seek, according to Quora or Shendiel. And that's what we're going to call it. Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.